Offense is the name of the game here tonight. Both these teams have put together really good seasons. It's 19-2 for Spring Valley, 18-3 for Woodrow Wilson. This should be a big matchup.
The intensity was really good in the building during the game that just finished up, the Shady Spring Robert C. Byrd game. And now a lot of that came from the student sections. They're not going to be as big tonight for these 4A schools, but I think what will make up for that is the intensity we're going to see on the court.
I think there's some leftover excitement in the building. A lot of fans in the stands here, not necessarily the student sections for this game, but yeah, the intensity and the excitement is going to be on the floor here tonight. You have got great players all over the floor on both sides here tonight.
Spring Valley comes in. They started their winning streak, or they started their season winning the first 12 games. They have won 7 of 8 to end the season, in the regular season and going into the postseason. They came in here with a 70-53 win against Parkersburg High School a week ago Tuesday in the regional final. This is their second straight state tournament trip. So Rick Chafin's group is building some momentum, and this program is becoming a perennial here.
Well, we talked about Spring Valley's girls team last week getting their first ever state title. No state titles, no runner-ups, but again, it's a school-wide thing right now. Spring Valley is on the rise in many different sports, and Coach Chafin has got them working the right way.
And again, Woodrow Wilson, 16-time state champions. A lot of those from the guy that's on down the bench from the head coach, Ron Kidd. Dave Barksdale, a veteran, a legend in this state. But Ron Kidd's group has been coming on for a couple years, and they've put it together this year. Another trip back to the tournament here in Charleston.
Yeah, number 2 offensive class quad A. They went 2-1, by the way, against a Shady Spring team we just saw earlier. Coach Ron Kidd, a veteran in his own right, 437 wins in his career, 25 years at the helm. He is a veteran, and we're looking forward to his team being back to the state tournament here.
I've said this in the past about Ron Kidd when I've done Woodrow Wilson games. It doesn't seem like he's been there that long.
It's crazy. But again, because he was under Coach Barksdale for a little bit, you just don't think about that. But he has been there for a while now. Time gets away from us all.
And Ron Kidd has had a nice run in his own right at Woodrow Wilson. Again, like you said, these are the top 2 scoring offenses in Class 4A. So how do you slow them down?
You don't. It's a shootout. That's what you do. Both these teams. Now, I say that, and who knows, it may be a low-scoring affair, but there's just too many scorers on both sides, I think, to keep this in a low-scoring affair. You got 4 in double figures on both sides.
Should be a fun one to wrap up the night. The introductions and the tip-off coming up after this from the Charleston Coliseum. Spring Valley Woodrow Wilson, stay with us. It's the 2025 WVSSAC Boys Basketball Tournament. From the Charleston Coliseum, it's the final Class 4A quarterfinal between Woodrow Wilson and Spring Valley. Woodrow Wilson at 18-3, Spring Valley at 19-2. Should be a good one. Let's go across the way for our public address introductions for tonight's ball game.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Charleston Coliseum and Convention Center for the 2025 West Virginia High School Boys Basketball Championships presented by Chick-fil-A. The WVSSAC reminds you that interscholastic events are an extension of the classroom and that lessons are best learned when proper respect is accorded to all. So please let your good sportsmanship show during tonight's game. This is a championship contest between the Beckley Woodrow Wilson Flying Eagles and the Spring Valley Timberwolves. And now for the introduction of the teams. Woodrow Wilson's head coach, Ron Kidd, will meet Spring Valley's head coach, Rick Chafin, at half court. Beckley's assistant coaches, Mike Folks and James Lewis, will meet the assistant coaches of Spring Valley, Jamie Riggs, James Hopkins, and Derek Johnson. And now with the support staffs, first for Beckley, Kevin Mopin, Michael McBride, Stephen Thompson, Talon Baber, and Dylan Ansley will meet at half court with Spring Valley's support staff, Bray Booth, Marcus Lewis, Chris Chafin, and Rob Chafin. And now for your players. Beckley's number 32, Gage Burdett, will meet with Spring Valley's number 1, Ryan Chafin. Beckley's number 30, Kingston Clark, meeting with Spring Valley's number 10, Mason Williamson. Woodrow Wilson's number 34, Jaden Robinson, will meet at half court with Spring Valley's number 14, Gage Roberts. The Flying Eagles, number 54, J.W. Wines, will meet with the Timberwolves, number 20, Caleb Markham. Flying Eagles, number 50, Owen Gunner, will meet with the Timberwolves, number 22, Gabe Chambers. Beckley's number 12, Lucas Rainey, will meet with Spring Valley's number 23, Brock Biggs. Flying Eagles, number 24, Taylor Williams, meeting with the Timberwolves, number 32, Dom Henshaw. Flying Eagles, number 45, Dylan Ansley, will meet with the Timberwolves, number 42, Judson Rich, and number 45, Javian Markham. And now for your starting lineups. The Flying Eagles 6' junior number 10, Kobe Dillon, will meet with the Timberwolves 6'2", senior number 0, Kean Grayson. Beckley's 6'1", junior number 14, Zion Hawthorne, will meet with Spring Valley 6'2", senior number 2, Clay Robertson. Flying Eagles 6'2", junior number 22, Preston Clary, will meet with the Timberwolves 6'2", sophomore number 11, Gavin Perdue. Beckley's 5'9", junior number 20, A.J. Thomas, will meet with Spring Valley 6'5", senior number 5, Colton Caldwell. Flying Eagles 6'4", senior number 52, Jalen Walton, will meet with Spring Valley 6'4", junior number 15, Harrison Riggs. Ladies and gentlemen, those are your teams. So let's get ready to play some championship basketball.
Woodrow Wilson, winners of 9 straight. Spring Valley, winners of 7 of the last 8. Woodrow's going to start Kobe Dillon, Zion Hawthorne, A.J. Thomas, Preston Clary, and Jalen Walton. Spring Valley starts Kean Grayson, Clay Robertson, Colton Caldwell, Gavin Perdue, and Harrison Riggs, who has 23 points a game, the leading scorer of the Spring Valley Timberwolves.
And they've got 3 in double figures coming in, led by Riggs. Clay Robertson, interesting right now. He was injured latter part of the season, missed the last couple of games. He averages 22. They needed him in the lineup here today. And then you look at Woodrow Wilson. They got 4 in double figures. Jalen Walton, 17. 17 for Zion Hawthorne. 12-5 for Kobe Dillon, and 11 for Preston Clary.
Walton averages nearly a double-double, 17.5 points and 9.5 boards a game. We're underway. Spring Valley has the first touch. It's Caldwell losing it on the baseline. Zion Hawthorne up with it. Stops, pops, nails the 3. Hawthorne averaging 17 points a game, puts Beckley on top with an early triple.
Shoots at nearly 40% from 3, hits on the first one.
Beckley clad in the maroon, Spring Valley in the white. Clean look, and it doesn't go from the baseline. Roberts gets it back, and Gage Roberts, his shot misses as well. Fighting through contact, Colton Caldwell knocks down the big bucket and will try to complete the 3-point play.
Caldwell, the 3rd leading scorer on this team for Spring Valley. 11 points, 12 rebounds a game. 2 early offensive rebounds, by the way, for the Timberwolves.
Colton Caldwell spins the rock in his hands. He does average a double-double a game. Caldwell gets the free throw to complete the 3-point play. 11 points, 12 boards a game, and we're tied at 3, 45 seconds in.
Well, both these teams better hustle back on defense, even on makes.
Good pass from Hawthorne inside the hook off the window from A.J. Thomas.
With patient look by Thomas.
Off the leg of Woodrow player Kobe Dillon had a hit off his leg. It's Spring Valley ball.
We'll see how the Timberwolves battle this zone pressure early on.
Very good officiating crew in this game. John Badgley, Sean Andrews, Russell Maston. Andrews and Badgley retiring after this season. Going to lose two really good officials here. Tie up under the basket, and the arrows with Woodrow Wilson. There's Ron Kidd, the veteran head coach of the Woodrow Wilson Flying Eagles.
Yeah, love the officiating crews we have down here. We got some of the best here in West Virginia for these state tournament games.
It's sad to see some of these good officials retire, and you hope that other good ones join the ranks.
I would put my shout out now for people to stop yelling at them would be helpful.
Wouldn't hurt. Clary lost it inside. Spring Valley up with it. Back in transition. Here's Robertson to the rack. Strong, tipped around and won by Jalen Walton. Fed ahead, Dillon pops short on the three. And it goes back to Spring Valley. And you know, Woodrow Wilson plays our home games in the, well, what we colloquially know as the Armory down in Beckley. That's a different building than a lot of these high school gyms. So you do have that depth perception that you get down here at the state tournament that you don't get a lot of high school gyms. In the lane, the jumper short from Gage Roberts.
A couple of short for both teams. Yeah, that's one thing that you see down here. A lot of teams not used to that. Woodrow Wilson absolutely used to that depth perception.
From the corner, Dillon drains the tray. Good start for Beckley and a timeout for Spring Valley. Beckley feeling it after the Kobe Dillon tray. Little more than 2 minutes into this one, a 5-point Flying Eagles lead. Happy to have you courtside from the Charleston Coliseum. Quick timeout for Spring Valley as Woodrow Wilson's jumped out to an 8-3 lead thanks to a couple triples.
Yeah, 3 of 4, 2 of 3 from 3. Yeah, that was a very early timeout, early portion of this game for head coach Rick Chafin. He definitely didn't see something that he liked.
Ian Grayson marches across the timeline. Robertson the catch. Stops, comes back out front. Grayson goes right side. Roberts out front. There's a three from Harrison Riggs. Strong. Ripped down on the baseline. Caldwell flips it out front. Robertson pops. In and out. Pulled off the iron by A.J. Thomas. Beckley wants to run.
It's a Spring Valley team that does not shoot a lot of threes.
Dillon with a heat check. Wide right. Pulled down by Dillon. Walton flings it to the right corner. Here's Hawthorne. That's in and out. Zion Hawthorne and Kobe Dillon each have a three tonight. They come up empty that trip.
That one was halfway down the bucket before popping out.
Rims tend to be tight here in this building. On the other end, Kean Grayson strong on the three.
As I just mentioned, they don't shoot a lot of threes. They do shoot it well, though, 46% as a group.
There's a catch on the wing. Preston Clary bombs it home in the third Woodrow tray of the game. Gives Beckley an 8-3 lead.
Now, Beckley,
or
Woodrow
an 8-point lead, I'm sorry.
They will shoot a lot of threes, and they can shoot. They're nearly 40% as a team this year.
Again, like we said in the open of the broadcast, both teams have four guys averaging double figures a game. Miss a three here on the baseline, mid-range. Grayson pulls up and knocks it down.
Well, sometimes you just got to see it go through the hoop early, and that was a good shot by Grayson. Tough shot baseline.
Stops an 8-0 Woodrow run. Steps from A.J. Thomas.
Say that quickly 3 times.
At 9 p.m. 9:18.
Spring Valley just one of their last 7 from the field.
Early on from the Charleston Coliseum. Second straight state tournament appearance for Spring Valley. They get it inside. Riggs can't muscle it home. Ripped down by Zion Hawthorne.
Had a couple of opportunities inside. Bookend defenders on the right and left of Riggs.
On the baseline, Walton flips it out front. Clary gets that one to roll home.
A pretty little runner by Clary.
4 different scores for Woodrow Wilson. Clary with 3 points. It's 13-5. Check that, 5 points, 13-5. And a takeaway. Walton up with it. Outlet pass. Good look under the basket for Preston Clary. He's got 7. And another timeout burned by Rick Chafin. And you might as well take them early here before this slides away as it's threatening to do. Woodrow's hitting on all cylinders. Preston Clary, red hot. From the Charleston Coliseum in West Virginia's capital city, The final Class 4A quarterfinal of the evening pits Woodrow Wilson and Spring Valley. Wins already today from George Washington, Morgantown, and to lead off the evening session, we saw Spring Mills on top of Martinsburg.
Right now, Woodrow Wilson in the midst of a 12-2 run in the last 4 minutes.
Contact inside, off the contact. Grayson scores off the window to break up that run.
A couple good looks for Grayson, a 15-foot range.
3 to play in the first. Woodrow has been hot from beyond the arc, knocking down 3 of 5 to start things off tonight. Hawthorne steps back, off the back leg, Zion Hawthorne.
Oh, a beautiful spinning move. A lot of fade on that fadeaway.
Beckley can do a lot of things. They can do it from up close. They can do it from mid-range. They can do it from beyond the arc, flexing their full muscles. They have a 10-point lead early on. Inside, nice catch by Grayson. Better pass. And the finish from Harrison Riggs.
Well, they average 13 assists a game, and they need that. They need good ball movement, finding good looks here early because they haven't hit from mid or outside.
Walton pops from the free throw line. It's in and out. What a catch and put back for Thomas, and he doesn't get it to fall. Outlet pass, hauled in by Riggs. Dumped under the basket, off the window, Robertson. And the Timberwolves back within 6.
And again, 2 plays, 2 assists on 2 made baskets.
Head fake from Hawthorne. Now he pops in the lane and contact under the basket.
I think they're going to get Jalen Walton with a little push off to try to create some space on the rebound. A couple of really nice dishes here on the Timberwolves side of things.
That extra pass, Spring Valley finding it tonight. Spring Valley only 2 assists on 5 made field goals, but hey, they keep doing that. That number's going to grow.
They've come on back-to-back plays.
What amazes me in this one, Andrew, is just how quickly both of these teams are getting back on defense after made shots.
Well, they know that both teams are scoring at a high range, so they want to get back at least to try to cover.
Off the screen, Robertson shoves it to the wing, and a corner jumper from Colton Caldwell pulls the Timberwolves back to within 4.
After a 1-for-12 start, they've hit 4 in a row, and they got a 6-0 run going now.
You're right. These are the top 2 scoring offenses in Class 4A. They're showing why. Clary hacked on his way in. He'll shoot 2 with a .05 to play in the first quarter. Leads at 4 for Woodrow Wilson.
Clary split 2 defenders there. A nice dish that time by his teammate Taylor Williams.
Colton Caldwell picks up his first foul of the night, the first on the Timberwolves. Clary nails the first free throw. Ends a 6-0 Woodrow, or it's a 6-0 Spring Valley run.
When you look at the statistics for both these teams, it's just astronomical. Spring Valley averages 41.5 rebounds a game. Meanwhile, Woodrow Wilson, we talked about the assists for Timberwolves. They average almost 20 a game.
Sharing the basketball. Preston Clary makes a pair. Woodrow's lead at 6. Flipped inside. Caldwell turnaround jumper offline. Ripped off the rack by Thomas. Everything these Flying Eagles do happens with authority, happens with a crispness. Kobe Dillon long on a 3. They fight for it on the baseline and a foul called. Thomas got a bit too aggressive on Mason Williamson.
Well, Williamson had a great box out position. I hope you can see a little bit of it. He couldn't, but he really pushed back to get that rebound. And then got the personal foul whistled there on Thomas.
Final minute of the first quarter. Woodrow Wilson leading by 6. Spring Valley trying to cut it at the 4-5 game here in Class 4A. Caldwell swatted. Hawthorne up and knocks it away.
Well, that was one heck of a block by Hawthorne. Seemed like he skied in the air forever.
Check that. Harrison Riggs has it swatted by Hawthorne. So Woodrow can hold for the final shot. Their lead's at 6. They've hit 3 triples already in this game. Might they try another? Dillon swings it inside, ball loose, gathered up by Robertson from beyond half court, well short and well wide. 19-13, Woodrow Wilson on top after one quarter of this Class 4A quarterfinal. It's the 2025 WVSSAC Boys Basketball Tournament. 19-13, Woodrow Wilson on top of Spring Valley. They're led by Preston Clary's game-high 9 points. 3 Spring Valley turnovers have turned into 5 Woodrow points off those turnovers. Spring Valley just not hitting the shots early on.
Yeah, you know, it's a slow start, maybe a little shell shock down here, but they got themselves together midway through, finished strong, ended up shooting pretty well from the field after a slow start. And it got on the boards. They got a couple extra boards more than Woodrow Wilson. And again, you just got to see some shots fall here. You'll settle yourself down. But again, this game is just getting rolling. It's going to continue to be a high-scoring and up-and-down affair.
Good crowd still around at the Charleston Coliseum. 6th game of the day, 3rd in this session. The runner doesn't go for Spring Valley. Second chance doesn't. Robertson missed, then Grayson missed, and then it's cashed in by Colton Caldwell.
That was a great dish by Riggs inside. He took the rebound and immediately dished it down to his teammate.
Beckley lead down to 4. Zion Hawthorne goes to the corner. There's Dillon. Bounce pass on the wing. Clary, no-look dish. Hawthorne the catch. The shot, good look, offline. Ripped down by Clary. He swatted. Mason Williamson got a hand on it, but lost it. It's Taylor Williams feeding Clary, and he's hacked on his way up.
Boy, no rebound is safe here tonight for either team. Good quick hands on both sides. Looked like for a second that Williamson had that one and ripped right away from him.
Grayson gives up the foul. His first for either team this quarter.
Nice little run for Spring Valley right now with 17-7. And now a little bit of an 8-2 run for the Timberwolves.
Second free throw up and in from Preston Clary.
It's a really good free throw shooting team for Woodrow Wilson. 72% on the year as a group.
Flung under the basket. There's Caldwell to the baseline, and vicious pass. It's too tall for Mason Williamson.
Looking for a back cut, and the pass just airmailed a little bit from Caldwell.
Looking for a back cut. He got a cut fastball.
Yeah.
Too much tail.
Is that a 2-seamer or a 4-seamer? I can't remember.
Another week will be outside.
Yep.
Preston Clary on the wing. Woodrow can make this a one-possession game. Clary drives, dishes. Thomas wants it from the corner. It's short. Loose in the paint. They fight for it. Kean Grayson was hit hard early on, and he came up with that somehow. Clay Robertson into the front court. Line drive for Robinson and an offensive foul called.
Well, that was tremendous defensive play by Williams. He set his feet early in that drive.
Good defensive position, as you said. Taylor Williams, a brick wall. And Clay Robertson ran right through him.
Yeah, first foul on Robertson.
It's been a tight one here in this 4-5 matchup. Spring Valley the 4, Woodrow Wilson the 5. It's been fast, it's been athletic. These teams have hit shots, they've made plays.
Just got to hold on to your seats here. We're excited when you have a 20 or 25-second half-court set.
Yeah, you take a breath. Good feed from Hawthorne. Better dish to the wing. Dillon can't hit from the right side.
After going 3 of 5 to begin, 0 for their last 4 from 3. There's another offensive foul.
Another offensive foul. Harrison Riggs absolutely flattened A.J. Thomas. I know it's road paving season in the Mountain State, but a little bit of an early start.
Well, that's a heads-up play again by Thomas. You can see the Spring Valley is attacking, and then those jump passes are coming. So Thomas just took advantage of it.
Riggs didn't even see him there.
Nah.
Again, Woodrow has a chance to cut this down to a one-possession game. Clary And a floor foul called before he can put up a shot.
I just extended the elbow to try to create some space on that drive attempt.
So the whistle's being popped just a bit more here in the second quarter. 3 for Spring Valley. That's the first for Woodrow. Spring Valley can cut this down to a one-possession game.
In the midst of about a 2.5-minute scoring drought, though, are the Timberwolves.
Good move inside. Clay Robertson finishes, stops, cuts back inside, and it's a three-point ball game once again.
That's a way to break that scoring drought. Just attack the rim to the right side. Robertson's got 6.
Like you said, at one point, this was a 17-7 ball game, and now a 10-3 Spring Valley run.
Yeah, hitting well, even with a couple of turnovers in this quarter. Woodrow Wilson not exactly shooting very well right now at the moment. They're in the midst of a scoring drought of 2 minutes plus.
They've cooled off from beyond the arc from where they were at the start of the night. Hawthorne, the left-hand hook, strong. Pulled down by Williamson. Spring Valley's defense is also dialed up. A lot of one-and-dones. Good feed from Robertson, and another offensive foul. Colton Caldwell picks that up. The charge taken by A.J. Thomas. 3 charges taken by Woodrow tonight.
And 2 of those are from Thomas. Just cutting off the baseline. And Caldwell maybe just a little bit out of control there. Got to set himself. And now you see what Woodrow Wilson's doing defensively. The guards have got to be careful with that.
Beckley taking more charges tonight than Amazon. Zion Hawthorne in the corner. Nice turn on the baseline. Can't find help. Thomas runs it down, keeps it alive to the corner, and the triple from Hawthorne.
Well, if you're a three-point shooting team, even though you missed 5 straight, you keep shooting.
Shooters don't give up. The lead doubles for Woodrow as we come inside the halfway point of the second quarter. Spring Valley hanging in there, trying to get some momentum. Grayson shovels it outside. Williamson backing up. Spring Valley may be a bit tentative about driving into the lane now that they have been charged for 3 offensive fouls in a quarter and a half of basketball. Caldwell turns the corner, shoves it outside. It's high, tipped around, loose. Won by Beckley, grabbed by Clary. Outlet to the corner. Dillon for 3, short. Would have stretched the lead to 9. Spring Valley gets it back. Here's Grayson. In and out, would have cut the lead in half.
That was way downtown.
Maybe too early for a Spring Valley team that's still trying to fight and claw back into this game. And a walk inside. Preston Clary took 1 step too many. And with 2:55 to play in the second quarter, Woodrow Wilson out in front 23-17 in this Class 4A quarterfinal. From Andrew, how do you finish this out if you're Spring Valley, the higher seed, down 6?
Well, they got 5 turnovers in the last 5 minutes. They've just got to take care of the basketball.
Williamson misses the 3, and it goes back to Woodrow out of bounds. One and done's not the way to get it done.
Yeah, they're really good on the boards, 40 plus a game. That's a really high margin. But they got to take advantage of all opportunities right now. Again, not scoring too well, but again, they're keeping the Eagles low scoring at the moment, so that's fine.
Hawthorne tentative, does get it inside. Excellent ball movement, and Clary finishes.
20 assists per game, you just saw why. Great interior passing.
That went good pass, better pass, best pass.
And
bucket.
A finish, yeah.
Loose out front. And it goes back to Spring Valley.
Good hustle by Kobe Dillon, knocked it away and almost dove into Alan McVeigh over there.
Alan McVeigh's had a busy night, our public address announcer. Had to be a little bit more nimble than he's used to being behind that microphone. Caldwell feeds it inside. Grayson rejected. The tip back doesn't go. And Woodrow Wilson slams the door shut.
Man, Hawthorne with a couple of really impressive challenges to shots this first half.
They can stretch this lead to double figures. Hawthorne offline, ripped down by Colton Caldwell. Not a bad look for Hawthorne, but he was moving left to right a little too much there. Step back triple, Robertson short.
Yeah, maybe rushed that shot just a little bit. The scoring drought continues for Spring Valley. They got to feel good about the fact that they're down only 8 and they haven't scored a basket in almost 4 minutes.
No points, not even from the free throw line. Spring Valley has been there just once. Woodrow 3 of 4 from the line, so it's all been from the field tonight. Thomas outside. There's Hawthorne with space. Pulls it back. Gets a screen. Nothing inside to the corner, and Thomas driving. Thomas short. Ripped away by Colton Caldwell. Spring Valley back the other way. Through the defenders, Grayson off the iron and hit every part of the iron but didn't drop, and a floor foul called as Hawthorne becomes a pancake in the lane.
Boy, the Wildcats have missed a couple of cherries here, and it's really causing them some problems. You've got to make the easy ones. The hard ones are hard enough. You got to make those around the rim. If you do that, this is not an 8-point deficit.
How frustrating is that for Spring Valley when you're down 8, as the higher seed in the final minute of the second quarter, and you're not making the ones right in front of the cup?
Well, it can pile up on you mentally sometimes, and you start to think about it. You can't think about those layups. You just got to make them.
Hawthorne misses from the free throw line. Spring Valley's over the limit foul-wise. Both these teams shooting below 40%. Spring Valley shooting 29%. And Hawthorne makes the back half. 9-point advantage.
That was a 10-3 run at one point for Spring Valley to cut it down to 3. Now Woodrow Wilson has got a 6-0 run.
Harrison Riggs on the big midcourt logo. Outside, Caldwell draws the defense. Grayson drives, spins, dishes, work it around the edge. Robertson pulls it back. These teams both have guys that can score in bunches, but now a deliberate look for Spring Valley playing for one shot. Riggs pinned against the sideline, gets away, drives the basket, stripped, foul called. A.J. Thomas thought he had it clean with 9.6 to go.
Yeah, just a little bit of the hand on the forearm. As you see this replay, Riggs, quick step to start that drive.
Harrison Riggs averaging 23 points a game, launches and sinks the rock.
Well, that's one thing he struggles with here on the season, just 53% from the free throw line. Able to connect on the first, though.
This is where it's got to come from Spring Valley to get back into this game, trailing by 8. Clutch para makes for Harrison Riggs. Beckley can hold for the last shot. They can figure out who's the inbounder. Dillon picks it up. Into the front court, Kobe Dillon dishes. Hawthorne with 4. Dillon gets it back for 3, offline, and it's gathered by Spring Valley. No time to send one back the other way, and the lead 7 for the Woodrow Wilson Flying Eagles, trying to become the first team in a dark uniform to advance to the semifinals. It's been chalk the rest of the way. Woodrow trying to be the... At the half, Woodrow Wilson has a 26-19 lead on Spring Valley. Eric Little, Andrew Miller back courtside from the Charleston Coliseum, the 2025 boys basketball tournament, the last quarterfinal in Class 4A. We expected this one to be a bit of a shootout, and the only thing missing is the shoot.
The top 2 teams in Quad A offensively, and it was an exercise in futility in the second quarter. The teams combined to shoot 4 of 21. That is not what we expected in this one. But again, a close game, and at any time, either of these teams can blow it out.
Well, they did in the first quarter, and that's what is so curious about the second. We saw a red-hot shooting effort from both teams in the first quarter. It wasn't there in the second. As a result, Woodrow shooting 37.5% from the field, Spring Valley 28.6%, and they are 0 of 7 from beyond the arc. Is that where they've got to look to get it going in the second half?
Well, again, they're not known as a heavy three-point shooting team. They don't shoot a ton other than Clay Robertson. But I think they don't want to fall in love with the 3. I think they want to keep working the ball, be smart about your drives because you've got a couple of charges there. And if they are able to dribble drive and dish to teammates, maybe they'll get the mid-range going. Maybe they'll shoot some from the outside. Meanwhile, Woodrow Wilson, I think the reason things got a little rough in that second quarter is it was kind of a chaotic quarter. Lots of good defense, lots of transition opportunities. So not a lot of set plays for either team, and they just missed a lot.
Woodrow Wilson led by Preston Clary's game-high 12 points, 3 rebounds with it. They also got 3 assists, 3 points from Kobe Dillon. Spring Valley led by the team-high 6 points from Clay Robertson, 4 points, 6 boards from Kean Grayson. Another sneaky stat in this game, Spring Valley with 8 turnovers, Woodrow with 8 points off those 8 turnovers. So they're able to cash in on Spring Valley's mistakes.
Absolutely.
So they were able to cash in on Spring Valley. I said that right the first time.
You got it, yeah. Yeah, they did cash in a good bit on those mistakes. And again, a low turnover margin here tonight. And if the teams don't turn the ball over, it's going to come down to who starts to shoot the ball better, because I think they're both going to be able to get inside. Woodrow Wilson can shoot from the outside. We talked about it. But I think both teams are going to try to attack the lanes here in the first part of the second half.
More to come from the Charleston Coliseum. Woodrow Wilson out in front, 26-19 on Spring Valley. Taking a look at some of these team numbers. The turnovers for Spring Valley maybe a little higher than you'd expect. They're also out rebounding Woodrow Wilson, but there's nothing doing from beyond the arc.
Yeah, 0 of 7 for Spring Valley in that first half. And again, they're not known technically as a huge three-point shooting team other than Clay Robertson. I think they fell in love with that at times in the first half. They need to get back to the basics of what they do best, which is dribble drive. And again, they can't go away from it just because they got a couple charges. They just got to be smarter when they attack.
Is that a big part of the message, you think, from Rick Chafin at the half, is don't go away from it? Because, as you said, Spring Valley whistled for 3 offensive fouls in the first half.
Absolutely. Do not go away from it. Just be wise when you do. Make sure you're not going in out of control. But when you go for rebounds, do what you do. Just attack those rims on the rebounds. They did lead in offensive rebounds 8-5, so that's kind of a thing that they like to do, is get on the boards. They average 40-plus a game. They do lead in rebounding 20-15. But again, you just got to shoot the ball a little bit better. Get it in the rim. From that point on, this game can change one of 2 ways.
And if you're the upset-minded Ron Kidd of Woodrow Wilson, what's your message to your team?
Well, I do appreciate the way they shot the 3 in the first quarter. They didn't shoot it so well in the second, but don't abandon that if you get some good looks.
A higher-seeded team in this Class 4A bracket. They hold a 26-19 lead over Spring Valley as we welcome you back to the Charleston Coliseum. Second half, the final game of Day 2. Final game, final session of Day 2 here at the Charleston Coliseum. Eric Little, Andrew Miller courtside. Glad to be with you for this Day 2 of the high school championships presented by Chick-fil-A.
We've had some very good games today throughout these upper classes, some close contests. You look back to that Ripley game where they had the 4-point lead going into that fourth quarter and just couldn't hold on at the end.
Yeah, Ripley Nitro was tight. Morgantown Parkersburg South was tight.
That was a 1-point game going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah. I was a little surprised that George Washington University wasn't any closer than it was. And again, no disrespect to George Washington. Rick Green's got a good club, and they're going to the semifinals, but I really thought University was going to have a little bit more offensively.
Yeah, maybe a little off night for them, or off day, I should say. Bad time to have an off day down here.
Exactly right. But Joe Schmidl's group had a good year, as does everybody that comes down here. You know, not for nothing, you're one of the final 8 in your class.
Yeah, you've got to be good enough to get here. It's an honor to get down here, and then you have to perform down here, which can be tough at times.
Well, we'll decide this one. One final spot in the Class 4A semifinals decided over the final 16 minutes of this one. Beckley looks to stretch a 7-point lead. Kobe Dillon had a good first half. Zion Hawthorne off the dribble. Explosive, stripped. Taken away. It's Gage Roberts in transition. Colton Caldwell leaves it back. Grayson knocked off the ball, gets it back. Another drive for Grayson, off the window and in. And that's what we talked about at halftime. Spring Valley and those drives to the basket.
Yeah, get back to the basics. Get inside the lane if you can do it, and try to finish at the rim. They missed some of those cherries late in the second quarter. That's a good start to the second half for the Timberwolves.
Woodrow ball from the sideline. There's another look at the Grayson bucket. Again, Grayson with 6 points tonight. Beckley uses the backcourt to inbound the ball. Looking for their first bucket of the half. Hawthorne stops, turns the corner, shoves it to the edge. Some room for Clary. Didn't hang on clearly. Thomas feeds it inside. Hawthorne on the baseline, swatted, foul called as Colton Caldwell helped to his feet after picking up the foul.
Yeah, he wanted that one bad on the blocked shot, but got a little bit of contact on some skin.
Woodrow Wilson looks a bit tentative on offense out of the locker room early on.
Well, I think it's because of the change-up in defense right now. A little bit of zone look from Spring Valley at the moment. Those passing lanes kind of shrink down a little bit more at that point.
Hawthorne left that one short. A little over a minute into the third quarter, Zion Hawthorne buries the second free throw. He's in double figures with 10 points. Preston Clary with 12 to lead Woodrow. It's a two-possession game. Eagles lead it by 6. Turnaround jumper, Grayson, strong. Ripped down by Caldwell, back to the cup. Colton Caldwell averages 12 rebounds a game and shows you the value of those rebounds.
Well, I figured out why. He can leap. He got way up in the air and quickly back up to his feet again. And he held in the air a little bit, a little pump fake to keep it away from the defender.
Hawthorne from deep. Buries the triple. There's a splash shot that Woodrow Wilson's been looking for.
Well, that's the third three of the game for Hawthorne. He's 3 of 5. 13 on the night now.
Roberts to the baseline, knocked around as he popped the shot, no call. Off the miss, Woodrow with a 3 can push us back to a 10-point lead. They go inside, Clary from mid-range. It lingered for a long time but didn't drop.
Yeah, nice tip out that time by Gavin Perdue.
And you weren't kidding about Caldwell. He can jump out of the gym. They go inside, and Riggs with a nice hook shot.
But one held on the rim and one didn't.
And Spring Valley on the sideline. Almost a nice save for Harrison Riggs.
Well, you see Coach Chafin, hands behind the head. He knew that could have been a great run out.
They replace Gage Roberts. Mason Williamson back on. He had some really good minutes for Spring Valley in the first half.
Yeah, doing some dirty work in there.
Zion Hawthorne drives, flings, out of bounds.
Well, I thought a great jab step and drive. Maybe that time even a little bit too unselfish. Tried that baseline wrap pass, fired it low, and Dillon just couldn't hold on to it on the corner.
Down 5, Clay Robertson sticks the jumper.
Not a lot of height on that one, but enough to get it through.
Kobe Dillon with a crossover in the lane. The floater, Kobe Dillon. Big time bucket for Beckley when they needed one.
Well, he hit that 3 to start out early. That's his first bucket since.
Grayson rattles one home, and now we got a game of dueling banjos.
Yeah, we're starting to see these offenses pick up now. Thought we might.
Thomas dumps it inside. We've not seen a lot of Walton, and he's fouled under the basket.
Yeah, they've had some bookend defense on Walton when it goes in.
2 fouls for Walton. Probably did not mention that when we should have in the first half. That has affected Woodrow's game plan. Jalen Walton, a guy they lean on for a ton, averages nearly a double-double a game. Still scoreless. Looking to break that, and he does.
Well, now you get to the second half. He can play a little more free with those 2 fouls.
Leads at 4 for Woodrow. Coming up on the halfway point of the third quarter. That one rims out. Coming up on 10 o'clock from the Charleston Coliseum, the lead is at 4. For Woodrow Wilson, the 5 seed. Inside from the baseline, Colton Caldwell sticks the J.
4 for their last 4 offensively for the Timberwolves.
Caldwell with 9 points. And an offensive foul this time on Woodrow.
And that's going to be number 3 on Walt. We were just talking about him playing free. He picked up a charge earlier just like that in the second half, or the second quarter.
I was looking for this. Caldwell with 5 points or 9 points, 5 rebounds. He's had a heck of a game. We're headed for a heck of a finish in this one. 4:10 to go in the third Coliseum. We got a quarter and a half to play, and this is headed for a good finish. Woodrow Wilson and Spring Valley have been in a barn burner throughout. We've barely seen a double-digit lead in this game. Not for long. Spring Valley has cut back into it. Woodrow Wilson's led through most of this game, but Spring Valley right back in it.
Well, they battled through a tough second quarter. Now they're back on offense. They've got 12 already in this quarter. 13 total points scored by both teams in that second quarter. It was just a low scoring.
Corner 3, nailed it. Clay Robertson. 3-ball corner pocket.
As we said, he's the one that shoots the threes for them. 51% on the season.
Spring Valley in front for the first time in a long time, and it's back the other way. Out of bounds off Woodrow Wilson.
Robertson came into the postseason with 43s, shooting 51%, and hits a big one there.
34-33 Spring Valley. Looking back at some of the stats, that's their first lead of the night.
Well, they couldn't hit a shot in the second quarter. They're 5 of their last 5.
Good
6
feed
of 6.
Inside. Riggs off the window to stretch the lead to 3.
6 straight buckets for the Timberwolves.
Hawthorne fumbles it. They go under the basket. Walton can't hang on. It's a hot potato, and it goes back to Spring Valley.
I wonder during this run how long it'll be before Coach Kidd burns a timeout.
It's a 7-0 run, 8 turnovers now for Woodrow. I think you'd see a timeout if Spring Valley hits one here.
Yeah, 8 total turnovers, back-to-back though. And Spring Valley making things happen off those turnovers.
Under the basket, they whip it around front. Here's a 3 from Williamson, offline. Ripped down by Kobe Dillon. Does Beckley try for a splash 3 here as we're inside 3 to go in the third quarter?
With zone defense for the Timberwolves with their length, causing some problems here for Woodrow Wilson.
Kobe Dillon between the circles. Woodrow holding for a good shot here. Not looking so much to take the air out of the ball as they are to take some of the steam out of Spring Valley. To tie, Dillon pops up off the rim twice. Ripped away by Spring Valley.
Another board for Caldwell.
Lob under the basket, the finish. Harrison Riggs and a steal. 2 more for Harrison Riggs.
An 11-0 run over the last 2 minutes. Suddenly a fire lit under this offense for the Timberwolves.
There's 1. Riggs stays with it. There's 2. Head on a swivel. Harrison Riggs. Timeout Beckley. Spring Valley 40. Woodrow Wilson 33. 11-0 Spring Valley run. 13-1, and that's all in less than 3 minutes of game time.
They were 2 of 10 in the second quarter right now, 8 of 9 in this quarter.
Harrison Riggs can't finish the three-point play. The lead stays at 7. Boy, I feel like for a long time in this game, it was Beckley up by 5, up by 7, and now all of a sudden it's Spring Valley, the pendulum back in their direction.
Well, as you said during the break, this thing is far from over. You know Woodrow Wilson's going to punch back here at some point.
They have not shot the ball well this quarter. Hawthorne tries to throw it off a Spring Valley player, goes under the basket. Dillon coughed it up, taken away by Mason Williamson.
Boy, 4 turnovers in the last 3 minutes for Woodrow Wilson. This is a team that only turns it over 10.5 a game.
Strange things sometimes happen on the state tournament floor in this setting. Spring Valley doesn't need the kill shot here. It's too early for that yet. But a solid back cut and a 9-point lead would go a long way. And again, time on their side. To the corner, Robertson stopped.
Well, good defense right now for Woodrow Wilson. They're hedging out on top of all these screens and these kind of gives with a natural screen, keeping the dribblers in front.
Spring Valley on an 11-0 run, in no hurry to take a shot. Will very likely attempt the last shot of this fourth quarter.
They started this with a minute on the clock, so they're working it way down.
They were down 6 at the half. Kean Grayson drives. Grayson with the left hand, strong, pulled down by Preston Clary. Inside the half-court line with 10 to shoot. Here's Kobe Dillon on the baseline, gives it up. Walton can't get it. Stripped on the way back, and with 2 seconds, he's fouled. Out of the basket.
Big offensive rebounds for Walton to keep it alive for Woodrow Wilson. They need a basket bad right here if they can get it. You don't want to close out the entirety of the third quarter on a scoring drought of nearly 5 minutes.
Spring Valley's outscored Woodrow 21-7. The catch, Walton off the iron and in. There's the bucket they needed, 40-35. Spring Valley, their 11-0 run comes to an end there. We'll go to the fourth from Eric Little and Andrew Miller with you. Spring Valley has a 40-35 lead on Woodrow Wilson as we go to what will be a whale of a fourth quarter. Woodrow led by Zion Hawthorne with a game-high 13 points. They got 12 from Preston Clary. Spring Valley is getting 12 from Harrison Riggs, 11 from Clay Robertson, and a game-high 7 rebounds from Kean Grayson. Checking on foul trouble, Jalen Walton of Woodrow has got 3 each from Spring Valley's Kean Grayson and Colton Caldwell. Speaking of, the runner in the lane falls for Caldwell. He's in double figures with 11, and it's a 7-point advantage for Spring Valley. Woodrow looking to answer. Huge bucket from them at the end of the quarter to cut it back to within a 5-point game. And then they stepped on the inline. And so Spring Valley gets a bucket. Woodrow turns it over, and now Spring Valley with another look. Timberwolves up a touchdown half a minute into the fourth quarter.
7 turnovers in the second half right now for Woodrow Wilson.
Into the lane. Fall-away jumper doesn't go. Riggs give it a go. Feed into the lane. Clary outside, catch and shoot. Dillon on the mark. Kobe Dillon, big bucket for Beckley.
Well, you knew it was not going to be not falling for forever. Dillon's hit a couple of second half threes now.
A foul under the basket. A.J. Thomas whistled for the foul.
Interesting.
No, they don't get Thomas, they get Hawthorne.
Oh, interesting stat line. Again, points off turnovers in that first half, 8-3 in favor of Woodrow Wilson. Now 11-8 in favor of Spring Valley.
Entry pass, Robertson runs the baseline and one.
Boy, how did he get that ball up?
He looked to be bottled up from the elbows down.
Wow.
A hip check from Walton. That is his fourth.
Yeah, a couple tough fouls here in the second half for Walton, a charge, and then that one picking up. And this is not a time, obviously, if Woodrow Wilson wants to come back, to lose Walton. They're going to stick with him here in the fourth.
Robertson can't finish the three-point play. And that's a veteran coach in Ron Kidd knowing his player, the senior Jalen Walton. Thomas looking inside. It's not there. Lead stretched out to 6 for Spring Valley. They feed Walton through contact. And one, Jalen Walton.
Well, you could obviously see the goal of Kean Grayson right there. He said, as soon as you contact me, I'm going down, trying to draw that charge. Officials were not fooled by that one, and then Walden with a big finish.
Huge free throw for Jalen Walton. And a three-point play, the lead down to 3 for Spring Valley. 6 for Jalen Walton on a night where he's battled foul trouble.
How about Coach Kidd sticking with Walton on that offensive series and now getting him out of the ball game?
Maybe playing a little bit of offense, defense, and definitely some preservation. Spring Valley up 3, looking to stretch that from the baseline. The jumper doesn't go. What a tip out from Caldwell. And a 3 off line from Robertson. They shove it out front. Robertson runs down the loose ball. Spring Valley holds the possession. Another look. Grayson in the lane, and Caldwell knocks it down.
Tremendous and chaotic action right there.
Beckley down 5 to the cup. 1 and done. Clary with a miss. 2-on-1. Nice dish from Robertson. Harrison Riggs the finish.
We talked about those dribble drives of the guards of the Timberwolves and avoiding the contact. Robertson did it beautifully there.
Pace picking up from the Charleston Coliseum and the final Class 4A quarterfinal of the day. Spin move, step back, Hawthorne offline, tipped out. Riggs, another 2-on-1. Riggs lays it in and 1.
I thought he was going to attack Hawthorne directly there. Instead, at the last second, he moves it to the left hand and away from the outstretched arm of Hawthorne. That was a big play.
Riggs into your living room, into the student section, into the stanchion.
Riggs has got 16 now on 7 of 10 shooting.
Spring Valley 3 of 5 from the line. Riggs to complete the 3-point play. Off the hinge, it stays out.
That's 3 straight opportunities missed on 3 of 1 and ones.
That's what I was going to say. It's a 9-point lead for Spring Valley, but they've had chances to grow it. Hawthorne skips it outside. Dillon whips it back to Hawthorne. Triple, and they need it, and they got it. Zion Hawthorne from the corner slices it down to a 6-point deficit.
Big players make big plays at big times, and Hawthorne has got 16.
Mason Williamson to the paint. Riggs sets up shop, slices, hop step. They go outside. Robertson. And again, if your Spring Valley time is on their side, and they know that. To the corner, here's a 3. Williamson buries it.
Just the 8th of his career, of his season.
Leads at 9. Dillon to answer. In and out.
Sure.
That was from NBA Plus. Coming up on the halfway mark of the fourth quarter, Spring Valley has a 9-point advantage.
We knew that it was a fluke that second quarter, where there's only 13 total points scored.
Caldwell turns the corner, runs the lane. Double-figure lead for Spring Valley on the Colton Caldwell lay-in.
5 of their last 5.
Hawthorne from the corner, airballed it. Hauled in like a punt return by Spring Valley's Mason Williamson. And Woodrow has picked a terrible time to go cold. Offensive foul. That's the 4th one of those whistled on Spring Valley tonight in the first this half.
That's going to be Riggs. That'll be number 3 on him.
Comes at a huge time because Woodrow needed some momentum. Stoppage on the floor, an 11-point lead for Spring.
We were talking in the break, Eric, about a bad time for Woodrow Wilson to hit kind of a lull offensively. It happened to Spring Valley significantly late in the first and throughout the second, but they are on fire in the second half.
Lots of room for Hawthorne. He left it wide. A scramble, Spring Valley up with it. The 11-point lead is their biggest of the night. Time running out for Woodrow Wilson. They led for much of the first half, and Spring Valley didn't get their first lead until about midway through the third quarter.
They're trying to hang on to this lead. Clary a little late to get up there for Woodrow Wilson. Looks like he's okay, though.
Spring Valley's got 15 from Caldwell, 16 from Riggs, 13 from Robertson. Woodrow's 16 from Hawthorne and 12 from Clary.
I was kind of surprised to see that Caldwell only had 7 rebounds. What he's done, though, is deflected rebounds to his teammates.
Dish inside. Robertson off the window. The lead's at a baker's dozen. They feed it into Walton, but it's taken away in transition. Caldwell, Robertson under the basket. The lay-in for Riggs, and it's a 15-point advantage. The runner from Hawthorne doesn't go, and it's getting late early for Beckley.
Or the wheels have kind of fallen off here for Woodrow Wilson. Spring Valley has all the momentum right now. They've hit yet another big run, 15-3 over the last 3:44 of this game.
It's a foul on Kobe Dillon. Well, like a toddler at a birthday party, the wind has gone out of their sails in a hurry.
I can't believe Hall & Oates broke up.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Handoff for Keon Grayson. And right now, Woodrow having trouble getting bodies out to defend Spring Valley. Do you foul here if you're Woodrow?
Well, I think you're just going to have to.
They give one up, Kobe Dillon. That pushes Woodrow over the limit. Second on Dillon.
You could see that Spring Valley had no interest in going offensive at this point. They were going to force the hand of Woodrow Wilson. They're going to force them to foul and put the Timberwolves on the line.
Woodrow had won 9 in a row coming into this one, 18-3 on the season. Door left open on Robertson's miss.
Just his second free throw attempt of the game. He came in at 76%, but he's 0 for 2 right now.
This would stretch Spring Valley's run to 10-0. Misses the back half. It's still a 15-3 run. On the other end, Clary gets it back, and it's swatted, taken away by Clay Robertson. Spring Valley's got to hurry. Less than 90 seconds left, and they're down 15.
And Hawthorne as quickly as he could, fouling that time.
Rather, Woodrow's got to hurry with the foul. My apologies. Yeah, Hawthorne gives up the foul, his third. This is the hard part of the game here for a Woodrow team that dominated much of the first 2.5 quarters.
Well, Spring Valley hit at the right time. They have had 2 separate big runs. They had a 13-1 run late in the third, early fourth. Now they're in the midst of a 15-3 run in the last 4:30. Scoring drought for Woodrow, 3:36 dry. Bad time to have a bad time offensively.
Mason Williamson knocks down a pair. Lead swells to 17. On the other end, Thomas in and out. Ripped down by Colton Caldwell. This game flipped on a dime in the third quarter. A rare turnover for Spring Valley. Dillon, Hawthorne to the corner. Clary in and out. Hawthorne gets it back. Final minute of play. Stepping into the three. Long and run down by Colton Caldwell.
It's his 9th rebound of the ball game.
So Spring Valley going to go on to the semifinals where they'll take on number 1 Spring Mills. It's all chalk in